Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Developing the Leader Within You 2.0 book study. I'm so excited to be kicking us off tonight. I'm Brittany Howard, Diamond Ambassador, and we have been doing these book studies on my team for years and years and years, and it's always a highlight of the week. But I'm super excited about this one because we have joined forces with some of my diamond friends, and we have lots of jewels and diamonds on this book study that are going to be doing this with us and contributing to this discussion. And so it should be a very rich conversation. So I'm really excited about the whole entire thing. If you are on here tonight, I hope that it is because you are ready to grow and you are ready to level up in your business, in your leadership, in your influence. And that is exactly what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about influence. So, influence is basically just the ability to create change. It's very different than managing, which is just being a manager is simply being able to keep processes and systems running smoothly. Being a leader is the ability to influence others, meaning you are able to impact positive change or negative change. Influence could go either way. So let's take a deep dive into influence tonight. You were supposed to have read chapter one of this book. And so it's about all about influence. So let's discuss. My first question of I forgot to say, here's how this is gonna work. So basically, there'll be one person kind of asking questions, facilitating a discussion, and that will be me for tonight, and that leader will change every week. But your job on this call is to answer the questions and just contribute thoughtfully to the discussion. Obviously, this is a place where we want to add value and we want our answers to add value to everybody on the call. So it's not a place for like negativity or complaining or griping or anything. I don't have to tell you guys that. You all know. And definitely not a place for gossip or anything like that. So just make sure that your answers are going to add value to the group as a whole. And let's dive in. So, my first question for you guys tonight is who and what, who slash and or who and slash or what influenced you to build this business and how did they do it? Who and or what influenced you to build this business and how did they do it? Unmute yourself and speak up. Tell us all your secrets.
Amber Miller influenced me to build my business. Just her consistency and her positivity, and just the consistency was the big thing for me. I watched her for over a year, and to see her servitude attitude and just how she loves on her team, and even her family, just watching her in her home life on socials was a big influence for me.
Love that, Madeline. Mandolin. Is it Mandolin?
Mandolin, yes.
Okay. What a beautiful name. So, when you say
Thank
that
you.
she was consistent, what was she consistent with that was so attractive to you? Are you talking about her social media content?
Not just her content, but always open, inviting you to reach out to her, to join her team, her business, um, better health just through the products and just the openness, kind of like an open door policy. Reach out to me, and then just the other openness to her life with her homeschool and her farming, and so it's just very very open door policy.
Awesome. I love it. Well, thank you for
I can
sharing.
go next.
Okay, let's hear it.
So Elena David, she was who I initially purchased the Plexus products through, and I was not like super on board with starting the business with her, or not with her, but I just was like, I'm good. I'll just keep share. I'll share. It's fine, but I don't want to do this. It's okay. I'm a nurse. I don't want to do it. And she was just really consistent with like asking, but she didn't do it in a pushy way. And I shared with the team this weekend that my very first call with Amber and Elena just really made me realize like I can do too, like they're just so genuine and kind. And it was just like so natural, and I just felt like I had kind of known them my whole life. I mean, I knew Elena from high school, but it's been a long time, so we change, but just I just felt like I knew Amber, even though I just met her on Zoom. I've never met her in person. And it just felt like these women are amazing and I want to join them in this and I can do this.
Okay, so I love this story. So you're saying that you are a nurse and you weren't really interested in the business. They were getting you to share, but then you got on like a three-way call or a Zoom or something to talk more about the business, and that's when you decided, I do want to do this.
Yeah, because it started with like, well, you can get your products paid for. And I was like, oh, well, okay, maybe I could do that. And because I just was like, I'm going to share initially after I had just seen really big health improvements with myself and my kid, I was like, I'm going to tell everybody about this, and Elena was like, well, let me tell you about that. And it was just kind of encouraging me. And I did initially tell her, no, that's okay. I'm not interested in sharing or, the business side of it. And then it was like, oh, well, you could get your products paid for. Okay, well, maybe that would be okay. And then it just kind of eased in. And then after that first call, Amber really was great at just kind of seeing something that I couldn't see. Like, hey, yeah, I'm so glad that you're a nurse and you love what you do, but what if you could do it on your terms? Because I work at a homeless clinic, and so it's something that I'm really passionate about. But there's a difference with me doing that 1 or 2 days a week versus having to do it 9 to 5, time away from my kids. So it was just like vision casting that I didn't even think about was an option, like for myself or my family. Like I just like, well, I have to do this 9 to 5 because I don't want to do 12 hours anymore, and this is it, right?
Mhm.
So it just never even occurred to me.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, so we heard from Mandolin that it was Amber's consistency that built trust. And we're hearing from Stephanie that it was her vision casting, Amber's ability to see something that did not yet exist and communicate it clearly to her that allowed her to be influenced. So I love these qualities of leadership that you guys are pointing out. Anybody else?
I think I should share because I'm also going to vote Team Amber. But I was back from like her early days. So I'm her mom, and this was when she first started and she was just starting out and she had not yet developed the skill to do some of these things. And so she did what she was told to do, which we tell you guys to do, which is very powerful, which I still do as a diamond all the time. And she used a third party tool. So she asked me, I told her I was not interested in doing the business. I was not going to do the business, that I like the products and I would go ahead and share with a few people, but, get off my back about the business side because I'm not going to do it. And she asked me to please just, it was pre-Zoom days, please just attend an event. And she really was like, if you go to this and then you don't want to do it, no worries. But she exposed me to a third party tool, and the third party tool did the work.
Love it. So good.
Okay, I gotta throw in here. I promise I didn't pay anyone to say all this. Um, but I'm glad you spoke up, Mom, because this is what I was thinking when Stephanie and Mandolin were sharing, which thank you, friends, is when I first got started, I did not have influence over anybody. All I had was relationship, which is that permission, that level two. I had permission with my mom. I had relationship with my mom. So I really leveraged that to get her to listen to an event because I didn't have the influence to tell her like, you should do this business because I'm doing amazing or, anything like that. I leveraged the relationship to have that connection. And that's how we all start out, right? With our relationships when we are working on creating influence
Mhm.
over people. So that's cool to see the stair step of this right here.
Yeah, so that is actually a perfect segue, Amber, into my next question. So you might be the best person to answer this first, but I'd love to hear from all of you. But so I was going to ask, I'm sure that everybody here at some point has tried to influence others and felt frustrated because maybe you realized you actually were not successfully influencing. So, has somebody here ever realized that they did not have much influence, but then they decided to go and develop it? And if so, how did you do it? Does that sound like you, Amber? Did you feel like that in the beginning, that you did not have influence, but then you had to develop it?
Yes, but I'm trying to holler at the hallway. Please be quiet. We have like double the kids tonight. Yes, and I don't want to, I'll just tell you really, really quick. I had no influence as a young mid 20-year-old. I did not have a network, no experience, anything. And I remember getting to a point where I thought, I've gone through all my warm market, all the people I know. I need to start expanding influence over other people, like expanding my network and obviously influence. And so that's when I went on social media. I chose social media because I live an hour from the closest town. So it was the way for me to figure out how can I get in front of a lot of people, create relationships and influence with other people. And you guys, just like Mandolin said, the consistency, it took several years. Like if you can do it without social media, please do, because it's a long game because you don't have that face-to-face value with people. You're a stranger that they have to learn to say, oh, wow, she's doing things that are aspirational or inspirational. So I want to tune in to the other things she has going on. So, what I always tell people is they'll say, I don't have anything interesting to post about or do. And I'm like, great, that is your opportunity to go create or start a new hobby or get really loud with something that you're learning or doing because we all love to follow that inspiring journey, right? Like, let's say there's someone who is just starting, they want to run a marathon, but they've never ran before. They're doing like one of those apps, right? Or a half marathon. They don't have to have done the half marathon and be this incredible runner for you to be inspired by them taking the steps and them showing their workout every day and how now they just took a minute off their mile and they got their first pair of tennis shoes and to watch the storyline and be like, man, you know what? I'm going to get off the couch too. I'm going to get off the couch and join in because she's inspiring me because she's sharing this path she's on. So
Mm.
I always would encourage if you're frustrated that, you know what, I just don't have this influence over other people, you gotta, if you don't have one yet, kind of create a path that you can take people on. It can be things from all different sizes, right? Different range, and just get loud with it and helpful with it. So
Mhm.
for me, that was mothering. I had little kids at the time, and I was like, you know what? I'm a young mom, but I'm going to share everything I'm learning, everything I'm doing, my struggles, and try to inspire people up with it. And that's kind of how I started on that path.
Yep. So good, Amber. I would say something very similar. Anybody else have an answer for that? Has there ever been a time where you felt like you weren't really influencing, even though you were trying, and you realized you didn't really have much influence and you were going to have to learn to develop your influence? And then you went and developed influence, and then you had influence. Anybody else have an
I
develop?
do here.
Okay, let's hear it.
Um, so I came from a different network company before, and I wasn't able to develop a team there. No one would really want to buy the products and stick with the products, but I felt like God called me to serve women and help them with their health and fitness. So it was a year ago when I actually joined Plexus because like the companies made the shifts and stuff. So I actually started Plexus right away for the business because I felt like God was really putting something in my heart to be able to serve women in this way. But I didn't have any influence yet because no one had really caught my vision. I was trying so hard to create something, a space where people can come together and deepen their relationship with God. Um, so that was kind of my only thing holding me to this. And then, of course, I needed help with my health. And Plexus Supplements kind of was like my perfect fit. So I made it to the Fast Start Gold um, in within a year. And I'm at the point now where it's like, I can't do this on my own anymore. I need to create further influence so that people can see the vision with me and then so that we can go further together. So I don't really have much influence yet, but I'm hoping that this will help me develop it a lot more.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I have definitely been in that spot too. Vanessa, wondering how I'm going to influence others. And I'm a diamond now. So if I can do that, you definitely can. Anybody else have a story of how you had to develop your influence?
I have a story. I also
Okay.
have no influence. And to answer your first question, you influenced me to build this business. When I started this, I was a school teacher. I did not have a social media presence. I had been through a divorce a couple of years before, and during that, I had just kind of escaped from social media world. And so I wasn't a fast learner. But what I think helped me in the influence department while I became someone who could be semi-interesting was just sheer diligence and consistency. I think there's so much people respect diligence and consistency. And so what I lacked in influence, I think that I built my credibility simply by mustering up the confidence to follow up. I mean, they didn't have any reason to follow or trust me, but the fact that I would show up with energy and positivity in their inbox, even after they didn't respond the first time, and even after they didn't respond the second time, I was still in there saying, "Hey, listen, I really am passionate about this thing. Here's somebody that it's helped along the way. I thought about you. I don't know if this is your story because you won't talk to me." I didn't say that, but I just would keep showing up and I would try to add humor. It was very early on that I realized, okay, if I can make people laugh, if you can get an emotion out of people, that's positive, then that helps in the influence department. Um, so I eventually did learn how to go learn something and then share what I was learning. I'm not a naturally curious person, but I did. We all have things that we're curious about that I think are fascinating. So sometimes it won't even be my information that I share. Like I
No,
am
it ain't.
hush now. It has worked out for both of us that I'm a copier. But I will often learn something in a conversation with Brittany, and then next thing you know, I've turned it into content because I'm also not a deep thinker, so I can take very fast action. And so while she's developing the thought, I done executed it. So I say all that to say, if you have no influence, you can become somebody who's interesting by being interested. So go pick anything. I mean, somebody had to know a couple of years ago, like if I get really passionate about sourdough bread, it's going to turn into something. They weren't. They just decided they didn't want to buy store-bought bread, which I buy store. I don't know how to make sourdough, but some of y'all have sent me some starter, and that was very nice. It's still in the envelope. Um, Anyways, just get interested. So I started learning about macros, and so that's what I talk about. Do people get bored with it? Not the right ones. So anyway, make people laugh if you can. Genuinely just compliment people, but be genuine. Don't flatter them. And then you can build respect with people by being passionate about what you're talking about and having the courage to just show back up. I think so much of that has just people are like, this girl she's persistent, not pushy, and she's very intentional. She's not just going, I'm back again, I'm back again, I'm back again, but she's trying so hard to educate. So maybe I should give what she's got a listen.
Yeah. And also now, Christina, you're saying that you started out with no influence, like you didn't really have I mean, everybody has a circle of influence, people that they could, influence to make a decision. Some people's circle of influence is smaller than others. Like the amount of people that you would have influence over might be small starting out. That was definitely true for me. I think it was probably true for you as well. But now you've gone from that to one of the most influential diamonds in our company. Like people want to know your opinion, people want you to train, they want you to come speak, they want their teams to hear from you. You have a lot of influence now, and so that should offer everybody on here hope that it doesn't matter where you start, it matters where you're going, and there is a clear path to build influence. And I would say my story is very similar to Christina's or Amber's. I didn't really have much influence when I was starting out because I didn't know that many people. But I think that anybody who has the audacity to do something with their life is going to and produce results with it. It's going to have some credibility and earn people's respect. I think consistency, like Mandolin said earlier, that builds trust with people. And um, but what I did literally in the beginning when I felt like I have no influence here, what I had to do was I read a few books. First of all, I read How to Win Friends and Influence People. That was one of the first books I read when I started my network marketing business and realized that influence was going to be important. And I didn't have any. And I realized that it was just a skill that anybody could learn. I just decided, okay, I'm going to learn it. And so that's what I did. And that book made me realize that when I was going to I was just a homeschool mom, so I didn't really go many places because I was at home most of the time. But when I would go to like church, that book made me realize that when I was going to church, I was like in my head and really thinking about like how to make sure my kids are behaving, as I have a lot of them and they were little, and just things like that. And I realized after reading that book that I needed to like my focus needed to be out here. Like I needed to be pay attention to people around me. I needed to make myself approachable. I needed to make eye contact and smile and give a handshake and just be friendly. And as an introvert, that just did not come natural to me. Um, but I could do it. I could intentionally do it. And so I started there. But also, I think as I was working my network marketing business, what got me influence, and I think Christina would say the same thing, was results, producing results. If you can produce some results, that will get you influence because people will want to know what you're doing. As a matter of fact, I had no influence with Christina until I had some results. I tried following up with her about the business opportunity for well over a year, and she ignored me a lot of the times.
I'm sorry about that.
That's okay. I forgive you. You've rectified this situation, so we'll let bygones be bygones. But anyways, I think I was a senior Ruby when she finally did start working the business. But I had to prove to her that I meant what I said. When I went to her and said, "Hey, I think that you could make a lot of money doing this," she literally did not believe me until I made some money, right? But I wasn't sitting around waiting on her to join me to make money. I was going out and making money without her, and I made a believer out of her. And so that's basically what you do to build influence. And I will say this one last thing, and then I'm going to move on to the next question. If you are too focused on how do I build influence, how do I build my influence, how do I build my influence, you will never have influence because people who have influence are focused on solving problems for other people. That's what they do. When you are hyper focused on solving problems for other people, just like Amber said earlier, she was like doing things in her life and then just sharing what was working for her. She was solving problems for other people, and you still see her do that to this day. When you are focused on solving real problems that real people have, that is how you gain influence the fastest. You solve problems for people. And if you don't know what problems to solve for people, then learn something. Go do something. Go solve a problem you have and then tell other people how you did it. Like Amber mentioned, go on a journey. Take them on the journey with you. Go solve one of your own problems. Start there. Okay? Okay. Next question. This is a question for Jules. And I would like, if you are Jewel on this call, I'd really love for you to type your answer in the chat so that everybody can see, because this will be really interesting to know. If you are a Jewel, can you tell us in the chat, did you come into this business with some influence, or did you have to develop it? Or a diamond, Jules or diamonds. Would really love to hear your answers on this. Had to develop it. Okay. So far, everybody's saying had to develop it. Angela says she had some. Had to develop it. Okay, well, if you are a Jewel, then obviously you did develop some influence. So I would love to hear Clarita, Sherry Harbridge. I would love to hear from any of you guys. Abby, any of you guys that did not have influence, but you had to develop it. How did you do it? Unmute and tell us.
Okay, so while they wait to see who's brave enough to unmute, I'll unmute and just say, my I didn't feel like I had a lot of influence when I started. I had a lot of friends, but there was a lot of people like in the circles that I was in, it wasn't something that was commonly done. Like what network marketing was, there was a lot of judgment towards it. And I think one of the biggest reasons a lot of people followed quite quickly was them just watching me be brave. I was like so determined. There was nothing that anyone was going to do or say that was going to stop me from going diamond. Like, and this was when I went silver, I felt like I was already diamond. Like that's how like accomplished I felt every step of the way. And people just were, they got this energy inside of them just from watching me like doing stuff so scared. I was very much outside of the box, very much outside of like the norm of what was happening. And that influenced a lot of people, but I didn't even know about leadership then. Anytime leadership, the topic of leadership came up, I was like avoiding. I'm not lead. I'm not going to lead it. I'm not going to be a leader. I had this whole idea of what it was that I didn't want to be a part of. And then recognizing years later that that's what I was doing from the very beginning, was just literally inspiring people. And then Kristen, who signed me up, she spoke that belief in me that I could do that. Like, you can do all these things that people who are making money, you can do that. So she put that belief in me, and then I just went and did the things scared every day. So yeah, I think even just being brave is a way of influence.
I love it. So Eva, the wild child. Where did your bravery come from? Like what was the fire behind that bravery?
Just that I had to do it. Like I had to make it happen. And so whatever I've always had a mindset of that uh, nothing can really hurt you. Like nothing, like everything that you do is just moving you forward. And like failure can't hurt you. It can't, you could be embarrassed. You could have really embarrassing moments, but it can't actually do something detrimental to you unless you choose to stop. And so I just had a goal in mind that I wasn't going to let anyone take from me,
Why did you feel like you had to do it?
because I don't want to live paycheck to paycheck. I wanted to have absolute freedom to do whatever I wanted with my money.
Mm-hmm.
Like, full stop.
Yes. Okay. So my next question is for diamonds. So Eva, since you're up, I'm going to start with you, okay? What qualities do you think that the most influential people in Plexus have in common?
That's really good. Um, Everything's figure outable. You are never stuck. Full accountability and ownership of their
Love it.
own life and problems, issues, whatever. Full, never ever blaming anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Great communication.
You can't take all of them.
Okay, I'll stop. Go, Christina.
That's sorry, you took mine.
Those were good though. Those were really good. Ownership. It's all figure outable. Good communicators. What you adding, Christina?
Positive attitude, but a solution oriented focus. Nobody needs a positive attitude that can't contribute to solving some problems, right? I think discipline is important, that it goes into
Yep.
consistency, integrity. I've loved when John Maxwell said, losing influence can happen quickly, much faster than gaining influence. And if you're not a person of integrity, even when nobody else will know, it can cost you.
Mhm.
And when your peers don't trust you, it's not a great feeling. So I would add that.
Mm-hmm. Amber, Lori, what do y'all think? Most influential leaders in Plexus. What do they have in common?
I would say consistency. Consistency with the mindset, like understanding the value of mindset and personal development and the people that you choose to be around or what you choose to listen to.
Yeah. So protecting their energy and their mindset.
Grit, a whole lot of grit, because
Grit.
all the other ones were taken. But friends, the stories that Diamonds will tell, Jules will tell of the things that we've done because we were going to make our goals happen. Because the 5 people that you thought were about to order all said no or disappeared on you. So you had to go find 5 more. And even though you didn't want to do it, like we do a whole lot of stuff we don't want to do. because we want to do a lot of things in the future, right? Like I choose now to get up at 5 a.m. Like I don't want to do future. So
And
I think that doing stuff now for later um, is a big piece of it.
Yep. So
That
good.
reminds me of that anti-fragile versus strong reel that we watched the other day with Charlie Kirk. Yeah, I think diamonds just become anti-fragile. There's not the strong ones.
You have to define what that is because I don't.
Yeah, tell me more. That sounds
I'll let
good.
Brittany tell you more. Brittany does way better job simplifying things. What makes us anti-fragile?
Oh, I don't even remember everything. I mean, it stood out to me, but I don't remember everything he said. Anti-fragile is like, I think he defined it as when you go through adversity, you don't just survive it, you actually become stronger through it. It's different than being strong. Like anti-fragile is, no, strong is I'm going to survive the storm. Like I'm going to hold up throughout the storm. I'll weather it and I'll be okay. Anti-fragile is when the storm comes, it's actually going to make me different. I'm going to come out on the other side better than I was before I went through the storm. What were you going to say about it, Christina?
I'm just saying the most influential diamonds or most influential jewels, they have influence because they've proven that they're shake us. It's going to shake us. I mean, that's just the reality that we live in. That's the side of heaven. And so the diamonds who see the storm and they don't just brace for impact, but they like brace for battle. They're ready to go. I think it just changes people's hope and trust in you. I mean, that's one reason I have followed you all these years is I know that you don't know the answers sometimes, but I know that we're in it and we're going to figure it out. There ain't an in a way that is dignified. So,
So,
but yeah, it's Grant Cardone and Charlie Kirk. I'm sure if you Google it, that you'll find it.
yeah, it was really interesting. Okay. Let me see what other questions I have here. How important is influence in a network marketing business and why? This question's for anybody. How important do you think influence is in this business and why is it important? And further, I would say, what area of the business do you think it's the most important? Anybody?
I'll pop in. I would say it's definitely will buy more of you than they do of your product. So you have to have influence in their life. And I would think it's most important in retaining them. Like you can get them with some level of influence, but you keep them with more levels of influence and keeping it positive.
Agree. Thank you, Katie. Anybody else want to add to that?
I would say that influence is everything in this business because like we like to say, it's a volunteer army that you're working with.
Yep.
And so the positional leadership just doesn't really cut it. You're not like people aren't showing up to work here because they're desperate and going to any kind of a big company and saying I have to have a 9 to 5, and I don't care if it's minimum wage. And then those people aren't thinking about necessarily who they're working for and what they're doing. They're just trying to get their bills paid. So when people are doing this, it's like people who jump into this are thinking outside the box. They're like, okay, let's try something new. Let's do something different. Like we have options. We can make progress here. They're dreaming. They're thinking bigger than just survival usually. And so it's everything. There's no anytime we get back to positional leadership in this business, I feel like people just drop off like flies because they're like, yeah, that's not what I signed up for.
Yes, you nailed it 100%. It is everything in this business because we are leading a volunteer army. There's actually no such thing in network marketing as a positional leader because nobody has to do anything that you say. You are nobody's boss here. And so influence is everything. And I would say it's one thing to sell somebody a product. It's another, I would agree with Katie, what she said earlier. It takes another layer of influence to get them to stay on their products when they're ready to quit, right? Takes another layer of influence to get someone to see the vision behind the business opportunity and get them to take uncomfortable action that they wouldn't have otherwise. And it takes even more influence to turn a business builder into an actual leader. You have to have influence to teach someone else how to have influence because that's what developing leaders is, right? Leadership is influence. And so if you're going to develop leaders, which I hope that all of you on here want to do that because that's how you become a top earner, then you need to develop your influence. But the good news is that it can be learned. Okay, here's another question. In the book, he says, as a leader, if you can add results to relationships and develop a team of people who like each other and get things done, you have created a powerful combination. So this is in the part where he's talking about the 5 different levels of leadership. But has anyone here done that? Do you feel like you have added results to relationships and developed a team of people who like each other and get things done? Anybody here done that? If so, tell us how you did that. I know some of y'all done. Eva, I know you done this. Give us your tips. How'd you do it?
I always feel like that's so hard to answer because they just all liked each other so much. When we were all working together, they were all like working in their giftings and their strengths and just like seeing them loving hanging out with each other on the trips, like with or without me, it just brings me so much joy. But I don't know how to explain how that happened. I bet my people could explain it better.
Well, I would love to hear from your people on this, but I think you just mentioned it. One of the things is you said they're all operating in their strengths. I think it takes a leader to create a space where people feel like they can operate in their strengths. That doesn't happen by accident. Most people don't even know what their strengths are until a leader tells them.
Yeah.
And so if you create a space where you have a bunch of people who like each other because they're all working together in their strengths, that took a leader. That did not happen by accident. So if you are one of those people on Eva's team who like each other.
Also, Brittany, we need your answer too because you're amazing at this.
Well,
I can tell you what Brittany did.
Okay, you go ahead. Go ahead, Christina.
Well, I only know because I had to ask her how she did it.
Okay.
First of all, she used to make us work on projects together, but before we would be sent off to work, she would tell us what to appreciate about the people we were going to work with. So she'd be like, Christina, this is what you need to know about Emily. This is why it's a gift that you about to get to work with her. She does this and this and this. She's got this quality that you don't have. Like she would point out I'm sure she did it more thoughtfully than this, but she would basically point out the areas that I wasn't good at and be like, but this is why this is okay because she's going to fix what you got going on in that area. And it's because of that together, it's going to produce this thing. Here's why it wouldn't be good if you didn't do this with this person. If you did it on your own, it's going to go this way. If you do it with these people, it's going to go this way. I'm sure there's more strategy to that, but that's what I remember thinking like, oh, okay, I need to work with Michelle because she brings this. And even now in person, there's like go-to people where I'm like, hey, I really need your help pulling this person in. I know that's your strength. Could you help me with that? So I'm very aware of what all of our leadership team will bring to the situation.
So basically is what you said, Eva. It's just knowing what people's strengths are and calling that out to them, like tell them individually what they're good at and tell other people too what they're good at. So like for Christina, I would tell her what the other leaders were good at that I noticed them doing well, and then I would do the same thing with my other leaders. I'd say Christina's good at this, and Michelle's good at that, and and so on. But one thing that I've done with all of my top leaders is personality tests. There's a really fun one you can do called 16personalities.com, and it's free. And one thing I learned from Amber Miller recently, you can put the results of that into Chat GPT and ask Chat, how can I best lead this person? How can this person use their strengths to grow their network marketing business? Like, you can learn so much about your people doing that. I didn't have Chat all those years ago when I started this, but that was something I did. I wanted to be aware of what people were good at so that I could tell them how because I know that they're going to be the happiest if they're working in their strength zone, and they'll produce the most results if they're working in their strength zone. And so I would try to learn, like, what are they good at and how can they do more of that to make more money here. And then I would just like inform the other ones like what each one of them were good at, and they all, I think also because we love the Lord and we want to do things with integrity, that loving each other just seemed like the right thing to do. So were you going to add something, Eva?
Oh, I just typed it.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Yeah, I just typed it. Same. We've always been doing personality tests, like all the kinds, just learning about each other, and yeah, how we all click and how we all tick and what makes us enjoy doing what we're doing, because we don't go far unless we're enjoying what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think fear is always a good motivator. And I think what happens if you don't do this, if you don't cultivate a space where people appreciate each other, is you end up with drama or jealousy or something like that. And so culture for us has always been very, very important. And so to create a culture where people cheer when others win, even if they're not winning, that takes a lot of strategic leadership, but it's been very, very worth it. Because there's going to be seasons where you're not winning, but someone you're close with will be. And being able to appreciate the energy that they're winning brings to the rest of the team, so that you don't have to feel envious or jealous or anything else. You can be like, thank goodness she's winning, because that's going to trickle down into our team. But if you don't develop that culture, then it can feel threatening, or it can feel, but it just looks like, do something together. If you don't have a mask, like go do something with somebody, go put on an event, go just brainstorm an idea together, and then bring someone else in and just kind of start that from the ground up to create a culture. I think something that's so important for up and coming leaders to know is you get to determine the culture on your team. If you're blessed to be in a big team that has a great culture, fantastic. You've got a good example, but you still need to go create an immediate team culture, in the same way that if you're born into a big, happy family, but then you get married and you have a child, like you create your own small family culture. I think it's important to take ownership of your individual team culture as well. And so it just looks a little bit like, hey, come do this with me, because here's what I see that you have that I don't have. And I think this could be a good benefit.
So good. Yep. Okay. All right, y'all. Well, we're out of time, but I hope that you all feel very inspired to develop your influence, because it is something that can be developed and that should be developed, because the influence that you're going to have on other people, I mean, it could have eternal impact. You just never know. The work you're doing here is good work, and it transforms lives. And so the more you develop your influence, the more transformation you'll be able to offer other people. So I'm going to leave you guys with this one last thought that I want you to just go and reflect on. We don't have time to answer it out loud, but I do want you to think about it, okay? He says in the chapter 1, people want to learn from leaders that they see growing and learning. That's what he said. So what, if that is true, if people want to learn from leaders that they see growing and learning, what does this mean for your social media content? And what does this mean for what you should be doing on these book study calls? And I'll just give you the answer to the last one. It means you should be speaking up, right? That's how you position yourself as a leader. Speak up, add value, solve problems, answer questions, position yourself as a leader that is learning and growing, and that will increase your influence, at least with your team and others. All right? Good night, y'all. Looking forward to the gut health event at 9 p.m. See y'all there. Bye.